Welcome to For Your Success with Katie Hornor, an inspiring program about overcoming the I'm too small mindset, redefining success, and growing your lifestyle business legacy without fear.
So I'm so glad you guys are back with us today. This is Katie Hornor and the For Your Success podcast. Today's guest is a very special guest. Not only does she have her own podcast called Business, Jesus, and Sweet Tea, but she also has a Sweet Tea social marketing agency where she helps Christian business owners with their social media strategy. And she is going to be one of our speakers at Blogwell Retreats in Cocoa Beach, Florida in September. So I'm so excited to have with us Heather Heuman. Welcome, Heather. We're so excited that you're here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm very excited just to not only see you in person in September and all of the amazing ladies that are coming to that, but I'm very excited to be here with you on your podcast.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about like your love story with social media and how you got started and turned this into a business?
So, yes. So, I have been doing social media before social media actually was a thing. And I know that feels really cliche, but the truth of the matter is I got into online marketing from social media before it was even called that. I found my husband online before it was called social media. And I that's what I live and I breathe today. So kind of how that story kind of unfolded. My background is I was a teacher. So I was a special education teacher. And while I was in college, I just worked in the accounting office at a local grocery store. And so life ended up happening. I had some really crazy, kind of terrible, dark times just kind of come into my life. And I ended up, just due to circumstances, no longer being able to teach and found myself needing to have a job. So I got offered a full-time position at that grocery store and became a customer service manager in Hilton Head, South Carolina. And I loved the work. And even though I was dealing with just like all of these just really difficult things personally, I really enjoyed the customer service. I loved talking to people. I loved being responsible for all the money in the store. But ultimately, I was getting very tired of working all the time. I was the single girl that was working 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. because all the other managers had young kids. And I just was really over it. So I ended up meeting the owner of a digital marketing agency through this thing called ICQ. So I'm dating myself, but if anybody knows, this is like kind of like pre-Yahoo Messenger, and this is in 2000. So this is 18 years ago. But I just ended up connecting with this person. Then he was just literally just like, we have an opening. Would you like to come in and interview for this? And I'm just like, is this real? Like someone I am talking to on this computer, like just invited me in for a job offer. So I took about an $18,000 pay cut so I could work a normal job and work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and have an hour lunch break. And it honestly ended up being like the biggest blessing in disguise. And even back then, I would say, money is not what drives everything. And at the time it was, I just wanted, quote, normal hours. But I ended up getting on the job training. And in a course of around 2.5 years, I went from the office manager to the project manager over really large accounts like Wilson Sports and Subway. And then I kind of became like an apprentice in the graphic design department, and then eventually was moved to the web design department. So this is, again, 18 years ago, totally hit the ground running in digital marketing before social even existed. And kind of the gap between that, which actually got me in this space, I ended up getting married in 2002. We moved a lot. And I just am by nature a connector. So I would create these Yahoo groups in every city we'd move. We lived in Germany, Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky. And I would really just bring women together who had kids, almost more like this play date type vibe, but really nurturing those relationships. And then fast forward, I ended up just having like some sales experience for the first time in my life in around 2007. I then in 2010 went to graduate school and got a master's in management and leadership. And it was really while I was in graduate school that I realized I absolutely have a love for business. But my first goal always was just to be a mom. I wanted to financially add income to our family, but not at the expense of like maybe doing what would seem a traditional career of leaving my kids in childcare and having a job and getting home at 6 p.m. Like that was not appealing. And so I was like, I think the only way for me to like still make money and still have this like feeling of I love business is for me just to start my own business. But then I was like, well, what am I going to do? And so it just came out of a need. I lived in this really small town in Kentucky that we had lived there a few years, but there was no online resource to help busy families know what on earth there was to do. So that was my kind of first dive in from like a business perspective is I created a business and used content marketing to put everything I could find on my website. And then I used Facebook and Twitter to grow my business from nothing to like honestly the biggest digital resource for busy families. So I had the eyeballs of everybody aged 20 to 50, and then advertisers paid me because I had the people that they wanted and I had the connection with them. And then the Chamber of Commerce is like, well, could you help us? And so then like they kind of brought me on as their relationship manager while I was still running my company. And so it just kind of felt like the perfect world. So I was raising my kids. I had all these things, but everybody was totally flexible as long as I got done what they asked. They didn't care when or how I did it, if I was in my pajamas or what. But again, in 2013, my husband and I, we just had some like unfortunate personal family situations happen. And we just really felt called to move closer to family. And so my husband's from St. Louis, Missouri, and I am from Columbia, South Carolina. So we prayed about it, and we ultimately went in the direction of warmer weather. And so we came back to my hometown in 2014. And I was excited to be near family, but I was kind of confused because everything I had built was in this 30-mile radius. And so that's kind of when I just said, I am going to do what I've done, and I'm going to take my, 16, 18 years of marketing and relationships and business and sales experience. And I'm going to now just go create a new case study. And now I'm going to do this and help people, but it doesn't matter where they live. And so I kind of did that exact thing for my own brand. And I still ran the other company. But again, I used social media from the ground up, totally organic, and just built relationships with people on social media, created a business out of nothing. And here I sit talking to you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're talking about building relationships on social media. If somebody I've got a business, I've got a Facebook page, but what in the world are you talking about building a relationship on social media? How do you start to explain that to somebody who's new to that idea?
Okay. So it's this concept that we all totally get, regardless of whether you're new to business or you're not, is when you need someone to come and either give you a new fence, or you are looking for a babysitter, or you're looking for a great place to eat, to go on a special evening out with your husband. You oftentimes either go to your friends, your family, someone that you know, and then now in this day and age, people turn to social media. And so they're asking their audience, their friends, and they say, hey guys, where is a great place to find someone to help us get a new fence in our backyard? And then everybody starts commenting and you get all of this feedback. But then as, individuals, we're like, okay, a fence is going to be a pretty pricey investment. Let me still call them all. I'm going to call all these people. And so you end up having this opportunity for the people who like you can just kind of have you top of mind when they actually know what it is that you do. And so anybody, even if you don't go online and do what I just said, like on a social media aspect, we know that in the online space, it can take anywhere from 7 to 10 kind of like touch points for someone to even opt in for a free thing that you have, much less like hand over to you, $200, $500 for a product or for a service. So it's this concept of taking someone from like this cold relationship, as in they have no idea that Heather Heuman exists, or they have no idea that Katie exists. And is she, is this a scam? Is it real? Are all of the photos stock photos? Like, is there a voice behind this business? And it allows you to humanize like who you are and what your business is. And so, like a real life example, like through a hashtag, I ended up finding a woman that was interested in coming to this woman's event because I just did a search for the city that I lived in. And I was like, oh, she looks smart. She looks savvy. I'm going to just go reach out to her and say she should come to this event. And, we just talked online for like 2 weeks, but she actually did end up coming to the event. And then it led to, oh, she happened to be like a TV producer, like as in like a morning producer. It wasn't like all over her Instagram feed. Like I really didn't know that, but it was that connection that all just started from a hashtag search in my city, which then led to her being like one of my closest friends. And yes, I've been on CBS News 4 times, not because she was doing me a favor, but because I was on her radar and I was someone that she knows and trusts. So when something new comes out with Facebook, like I get this message that says, hey, do you want to be on TV tomorrow morning? I need you to talk about this for 4 minutes. Do you have talking points? And I'm like, of course I have talking points, and it's just, that wasn't necessarily quote business as in she paid and handed me money, but we have I've gotten speaking events because she has told someone else they should hire me, or I have new clients that find me because they saw a 5-minute Facebook Live at 9:45 video I did on Facebook, or maybe it was an ad and I kind of showed up in their news feed and they're just like, you just kind of came out of nowhere. And then they started engaging with my content. Because they engage with my content, Facebook's like, they like your stuff, we're going to show this to them more. And so it just honestly is, you're trying to go from cold, they don't know you, to liking you, knowing you, and trusting you. Because we all are wired to give money or buy from people that we like and that we know and that we trust. So I don't say in any manipulative way. It needs to be genuine, and different audiences want different things. So it's going in and testing and showing up, but it's literally saying, okay, if this is what I do, well, then what does my audience need that I could help them with? I'm going to show up. I'm going to give them either free information or give them an opportunity to know that I've got this, upcoming event, and just build this rapport with more people using social media. So even if you've never met in person, you then ultimately see that you're on their podcast, or you then see that someone's invited you, to come and be a speaker at their event. And it's all through online connection through social.
That's really cool. And I like how you trace that hashtag too, because maybe some of our listeners or those watching this video don't realize that hashtags is like this big this almost like a thesaurus online. Like you can find almost anything with a hashtag, just putting that number sign in front of it, and it pulls up everything that's got that hashtag connected to it. And you can go and find people, you can find events, you can find things based on location or based on color or based on, it's amazing all the different hashtags out there you can research. And so any niche you're in, that becomes a really valuable way to find the people who are also interested in that topic, and then be able to connect with them and interact with them on social. And which can lead to, like you said, those relationships or even those business relationships that then brings in clients or other opportunities. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think that the more that people or business owners or entrepreneurs or bloggers, whatever we call ourselves, the more that we realize that whatever it is we may have to offer to someone else, and we're kind of wearing our business hat, that we have to say to ourselves, aside from what we sell, aside from what our service is, these are people. These are people. So, if your targeted audience has kids or busy moms, or they don't have any idea what they're fixing for dinner and it's already 5:45, that's real life. So if you can show up and just kind of speak inspiration or value or helping someone's life or their day easier, it really just breaks down these walls, and it makes you seem more human, and it makes people more interested in the other things that you have to say that then actually may specifically be about, a blog post that you wrote, or about an offer that you have, or about, something that you are doing that can financially benefit your business.
Right. Well, I've been doing a test lately with even email subject lines. I know that's not necessarily social media, but thinking about it from a story perspective, which subject line sounds more like a story, because that's going to have better open rates. And then on Instagram too, and Facebook, if something sounds like a story rather than a promotion, it's getting way better results, because that's what people want to connect with people. They don't want to be sold to. They want to know who you are and that you're real first, and then they may be interested in what you have to offer. So Heather, what is your favorite social media platform?
I think I have this thing for Facebook because it was really the very first social platform that I really dove into and got. I remember when I first got on Twitter, like I had 20 friends, and I didn't want to be friends with anybody else, because those 20 people, like my feed was just those 20 people. And I was like, who are these other people wanting to get in my feed? I don't want anybody but these 20 people. So it's a learning curve for all of us. And from a business perspective, I think too many people try to be everywhere, and they do it not such a great job. But personally, I love Facebook and I love LinkedIn, even though I know LinkedIn has like that business vibe. Like I genuinely enjoy going there and just trying to humanize things in this place where it almost might feel like the what everyone else is doing does look more like, corporate America, and like all the stock photos where everybody looks like the exact same, and just kind of trying to go into that platform and like change things up. So my feed does not look like every other person out there that does social media, but love Facebook.
Do you think it's important for people to identify the social media that maybe fits their business better? Like you mentioned, Facebook is different from LinkedIn. So for somebody who has, maybe no clue about LinkedIn, who is LinkedIn better for versus Facebook versus Pinterest versus Instagram?
Yeah. So like the first question that you asked regarding like ultimately how do you make that decision of like where you go, is my number one suggestion to everyone is first ask where your audience maybe spends the most amount of time. And so depending on what your business is, if you are an interior designer and maybe you are targeting the age of people that are maybe, 40 to 60 years old, we know interior design is amazing, and that's a beautiful platform to maybe consider Instagram or Pinterest as one of your top go-to platforms. But I would first say, are you a local business? If you're a local business only really serving 40 to 60-year-olds, are they all on Instagram? Are they all on Pinterest? Are they all on Facebook? And you may say there are those age ranges on all of those platforms. And so if you can't get like a definitive, like this is where I should go, I think it's really important for you to just honestly ask yourself, which platform do you personally genuinely enjoy? Because it's really hard to fake social media like 24/7 if you genuinely like hate the platform. And I've heard a lot of people say that. But yes, each social platform has its own culture. Even if you have the same blog post that you think might be relevant on another platform, you still may lead into that link that you want people to ultimately go click to differently. You might do a short form on Facebook, and you could even do like a 15-20 second video that you just upload saying, hey guys, our new blog post is ready. And if you're interested in this, this, and this, I really think you're going to really enjoy it. Check it out. Rather than just maybe saying, here's this such and such, and here's a link. You can still just change things up. And the same is true over on LinkedIn. LinkedIn now allows you to upload video, but you may just kind of have a different lead in than you would on Facebook. But go where your audience is first. Ask yourself, if my audience is already there and if I enjoy it, pick one platform and do it really, really well, rather than take, let's say you have 2 hours a week I would rather see you spend an hour and a half on one social platform. And if you want to humor yourself and you want to like have a post on Instagram and you want to have a post on LinkedIn and you want to have a post on Twitter. So if someone were to like go there, it doesn't look like the last time you posted was June of 2018. But you would be better served to really go deep on one platform rather than very superficially on like 5.
Yes, that's excellent advice. Go where your people are. And that's and if you don't know, like you said, if you don't know, then choose the one that you love doing, because if you hate it, you're not going to keep up with it and grow it the way it needs to be grown. So yes. Love that. So what is a strategy then for LinkedIn that may be new to some of our listeners, as we spend a lot of time in the past focusing on some of the other social medias? But you obviously love LinkedIn. What is a good strategy for becoming known on LinkedIn or beginning to grow a following there?
Sure. So let me think a couple bullet point ideas. So number one is you want to have like a really awesome profile photo. Some people I feel get so overwhelmed with like, this is a professional atmosphere that it like absolutely has to be you have to go and have an expense of a photo shoot. And by all means, no discredit photo shoots. They're awesome, but you can get your iPhone and either, if you're good at selfies, which I feel like there needs to be a check mark on LinkedIn, like in the skill level that says awesome at taking selfies. If you're not, get someone else that to stand about 6 feet away from you and have an awesome photo. And you could have greenery in the background. You could have wood. You could have brick. Don't stand right next to the brick, but move forward about, 2 feet so you don't have crazy shadows, and make sure the sun is not in your face. But just get a nice, tight, awesome, smiling, warm photo for LinkedIn. The next thing on LinkedIn is you want the very first description. When you go to LinkedIn and you look up anybody, I can't remember the character count. It's not a lot. But you basically have 2 lines worth where you get to show up and say exactly what it is you do. So if you want to be found, if people are doing a search for CEOs in, Boise, Idaho, then you want to have in your top description on LinkedIn, you want it to say, social media strategist and CEO in Boulder, Colorado, or wherever it is that you are. Or if you are the Facebook Live guru, or if you are the, a speaker, if you're a keynote speaker, ask yourself, if people are searching on LinkedIn by keywords that I want to be found by, do I have those keywords in that description? And then strategy, like the overarching strategy on LinkedIn is really similar to every other platform. Don't start selling to people 45 seconds after you've met them. I wouldn't do that if I met you, Katie, face to face, and none of us in real life would do that, I hope. You wouldn't just go up and just immediately say like, do this, or join my free group, or do this, or I've got the offer, or hey, it's all about me. When you show up on LinkedIn, you want to make sure that you personalize connection requests for people. And I'm not sitting here trying to complicate this, but just don't click the connect button and all they get is, it says, Sally would like to connect with you. And like, it just shows that you don't care. And even if that's not your intention, take 20 seconds, see that you both live in the same town, see that they have a business that's complementary to yours, see that you maybe went to the same college, and say something that acknowledges that they are a human being and that maybe you have something in common. Even if the only thing is that, hey, I see that you also are a business owner. I love making connections with other people in my city. How's business going? That's it. And then give them a chance to respond. But again, just slow things down and tell yourself that you're trying to nurture connections to then give yourself the opportunity to be able to not necessarily ask, but just get on people's radar. Because once you start proactively making connections with other people on LinkedIn, they then come to your profile and they check you out and they look at, some of your recent posts, or then you start showing up in their feed and you suddenly start to become more visible. And that's one of the really key things everywhere on social, is that we're trying to get more people to know that we exist, that we then may have a product or a service or a blog that could benefit them. And so when you're nurturing those connections, kind of try to realize and remember social media is more of like the marathon in your marketing strategy instead of just the sprint.
So how important is it to post on, like you post on LinkedIn like you would on Facebook? Is that the only way to be seen on LinkedIn, is by posting and getting in those feeds as you were talking about?
So I'd say the greatest things on LinkedIn regarding being seen is showing up. So that's kind of going to what you're saying. So that's posting. That is creating articles, which is not complicated. If that sounds complicated, it's literally a button that you would click on and you upload a cover photo, you give it a title. And let's even say that you're trying to just maximize content you've already made. So maybe the full 1,000 word blog post is over on your website, but you just come to LinkedIn, create that nice cover photo, and maybe you just put the first 200 words of your blog post right there inside of the article. And then at the bottom of the article, you say something like, to read the rest of this, head on over to, and you include the link. And so just constantly ask yourself, are you showing up? Because what happens is when you start connecting with other people and you're making those connection requests, and then you start giving people endorsements and you start giving recommendations, I'm not saying that you do it because you strategically are trying to manipulate people and say, I'm going to do it for them, but I'm really only doing it because I want them to come back and do it for me. But it's really just like this golden rule philosophy of treat people the way you'd want to be treated. So if you want more LinkedIn recommendations, if you want more endorsements, if you want more likes on your posts, then you go and do that for other people. And so when you post more often, Katie, you're going to then show up in more people's feed more often and more consistently. And I would say for a lot of people, you might really start to see some traction that could possibly be even better on other platforms like LinkedIn versus over on over on Facebook, where I am a huge advocate of saying Facebook organic reach is not dead. But for a lot of businesses that are posting twice a week, I honestly feel that they're not posting enough for those 2 posts to really go as far as they want. So you might see that just doing 2 posts on LinkedIn might go a lot farther. And then people will find you more if you do take advantage of making sure that there are a lot of great keywords in your description for what it is that you do. So when someone does search for a job title, or they search for a certain skill and they might look in a particular city, or even if they don't, that increases your chances of showing up.
So do you have a scheduler that posts to LinkedIn, or do you log in every day and post?
So I have a philosophy that I think automation can be super awesome. And so I do take advantage of, I use a tool called Meet Edgar, and we have these content buckets, but I'm not posting the exact same thing at the exact same time on Facebook, LinkedIn, and all these places, even though some of the content may overlap. And so I use that scheduler. I like to describe it almost like as a base of content. And then I engage with comments in real time. And then I like to, in real time, also come in and post. So let's say on LinkedIn, I schedule 3 posts per week. Well, then I may come in and in real time do a post from my phone or from my desktop. And then I have the notifications on all of the social platforms that I participate with, and I check those notifications every single day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very cool. Good strategies there for LinkedIn. But Facebook, you said, was still your love, or your first love with social media, and you have a group on Facebook. Is that right?
I do. I feel like I started it maybe a year and a half ago, but it's for Christian business owners that pretty much feel lost, or they need help, or they want someone to come along, or they want a safe place to be able to say, I need help with this. And it's the focus is social media and your business. And it's really just creating a community of people, of like-minded people that want to not only have a great business, need help with social media, but they also really want to just go out and make a kingdom impact in what it is that they're doing.
Awesome. So if you're watching or listening and you fall into that Christian business owner category and would like to be part of Heather's Facebook group, it's free and you can find it at sweetteasocialmarketing.com. There'll be a link right there on that homepage for you to join her free social media group on Facebook and get the help that you need there. So Heather, I'm so excited about the strategies that you're going to be sharing at both the ones you shared today. I've learned some new things about LinkedIn, as well as the ones that you'll be sharing at our retreat in September. For those of you listening, our retreat, Blogwell retreat, is September 24 and 25. We will be at the Ocean Landings Resort in Cocoa Beach, Florida. And the first day, we're going to be hearing from Heather, as well as a couple of other folks. Heather on social media strategies. And then we'll have Betsy Hill on professionalism and reaching out to sponsors. We'll have Claudia Pennington with SEO from SEOauditguide.com. So lots of great stuff going on at Cocoa Beach, September 24 and 25. If you don't have a ticket yet, go ahead and hop over to blogwellretreats.com and get your retreat ticket locked in there so you can come and meet with Heather face-to-face. Our afternoon of the first day of the event is my favorite because that's the time where we do not have scheduled sessions. We just literally sit down with each other in small groups and help you work through your problems. So if you need to hash out a strategy for social media, Heather will be there to help you with that. And then those of you who are there for our VIP day, the second day, we'll also have some more individualized smaller group coaching, small groups there. So check that out at blogwellretreats.com. Be sure and go to Heather's site, sweetteasocialmarketing.com, and get on her email list and join her Facebook group. And of course, be sure to get that retreat ticket so you can come and see her there as well. But Heather, it's been great to have you on the show today. Thank you for everything that you shared.
Thank you. I've loved talking with you, Katie, and I can't wait to see you soon.
Yes, we'll see you very soon.
Thanks for listening to the For Your Success podcast, brought to you by our membership community for bloggers, theblogconnection.com. If you're listening via audio, please subscribe and review. If you're a YouTube fan, please like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment, and share. Every action you take to share what we do helps us to be able to continue giving great value. For show notes and links to the resources mentioned in today's episode, please visit foryoursuccesspodcast.com.